We'll call the meeting to order this time, and I'll open with a prayer for guidance. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the occasion to meet tonight. We thank you for the opportunity to serve in the roles we have before the township. Pray for your wisdom, pray for your direction, pray for your protection for our citizens, all that serve us. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
You could join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Seated. Right. Could just, I guess, certify the roll.
All are present except for Mr. Grafton.
Okay, so we have a quorum. Item 5, approval of tonight's agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Support.
Discussion about tonight's agenda. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Agenda is approved. Item 6, communication letters and reports received for information. Item 7, then, we have a public hearing this evening related to Dunes Golf. I did see, at least earlier, I do still see Mr. Snyder's here. Is there a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Support.
Is it supported? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. So the public hearing is now open this evening on an application that we received for a liquor license related to this new venture known as Dunes Golf. Anyone in here in the public tonight wish to address that particular item, or Mr. Snyder himself can also do so. All right, seeing none. Is there a motion to close that public hearing?
So moved.
Support.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right. Public hearing is closed. And now we move to the question of a resolution. Is there a motion to approve the resolution related to this liquor license issuance?
So moved.
Support.
Discussion among the board related to this. I know you've gotten a lot of submissions. I trust you've reviewed. Any comments, questions, concerns?
Jim, do you think he'd want to give us an overview of what he hopes to do, or isn't that appropriate?
You know, it isn't inappropriate. How's that? I mean, he could do so during the public hearing, but that's really more for the public, I guess. You could come. Yeah, you came, you seem ready. So, any board members have an issue with a quick summary from? All right.
That would be good.
Welcome.
Later, over in the Jenison area. As you can see from the floor plan, there'd be 6 bays for a potential 7th. Not to start, but what we're looking to do is 6 bays. Obviously, the sole purpose of this is indoor golf, and a place on this side of town that I don't feel like is well served. I feel like most places around the northeast side of town, when it comes to indoor golf and stuff to do in the winter like that. And so what we're looking to do is supplement that with a bar. There's no way, shape, or form it could ever be a bar without the simulators. Simulators are the sole purpose of this. And then the liquor license would just be an ancillary product to indoor golf. So if anybody's here ever played indoor golf, you'll know usually there's a small bar, 5 or 6 people can sit there, but majority of the floor space is taken up by the bays themselves, and then the occupancy itself would be taken up mostly by golfers who are in there actively golfing. So yeah, the whole idea kind of started a few years ago, and it evolved many times, and kind of sought some guidance from somebody that I had reached out to from Ohio, who is now on his 4th location. Got a lot of background on the business itself, a lot of good ideas, a lot of kind of how it works, and so from there we kept in touch over 2 years, and at this point now it's kind of like the stars kind of aligned, and now we're pushing a little bit for this fall. But and obviously this is a huge piece of it. The business itself cannot survive without a liquor license. There'd be way too much cost without that to support it. So it is a massive piece for the project itself. But yeah, as you can see, it's a large space. There's more space kind of where it says lockers. We'll be looking to have some lockers for corporate members to come in there and be able to leave their shoes, golf clubs, and then possibly in the future what we'd like to do is put another simulator up there where it says practice bay and do club fittings and lessons there and leave the 6 open for leagues and anybody who wants to come in and play. It's not membership driven. You don't have to be a member to come in there. It's wide open to the public. We encourage bringing young kids. It's less intimidating, taking them out to the golf course. Families, business, friends, just something to do in the winter. Keep your swing in the club. And if you're new to golf, it's a little bit less intimidating to do indoor golf than it is to go outside and have somebody standing behind you waiting for you to tee off. So, yeah, that's the high level overview. But yeah, the whole goal here is to have this thing open and then have the bar itself to support the business. But yeah, in no way, shape, or form could this ever turn into a full-blown bar, and the lease itself bars that. So just, I know that's kind of a large sticking point, just to make sure that that isn't the intention and can't be the intention, let alone the floor space doesn't support it with the bays, but on top of that, the lease, that would be a break of the lease in general. So,
What kind of hours are you looking at?
yeah, so the original goal would be 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. I have 3 little girls at home, 6, 4, and 2. I'm not trying to stay there till midnight by any means. So 10 o'clock shut down, 10 o'clock open. Tossed around 8 a.m. opens on the weekends just during busy season, but that's still kind of up in the air. But 10 o'clock would be the close time.
And any food being served?
No food. The goal would be, and this actually came from the guy in Ohio, he paired with local businesses, made a QR code. People can scan it, order it from the restaurant themselves, and they bring it in, throwaway type basket, so you're not passing dishes back and forth or anything like that. People can order the food and bring it in, but you don't want meat cooked in. So that's not the goal.
And this is, I'm just trying to.
The old Fitness 19.
So is that like
current. Current.
In Meyer parking lot, but like the back side of the Chow House building, kind of?
Yeah, back side of Chow House. So it's the drive into Meyer,
Got it.
which is another. When it comes to the bar itself, Meyer obviously has their own rules on what can and can't happen in that premise in general. But yeah, so it's the current Fitness 19.
Awesome.
Any other questions for Ryan while he's up there? All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Among the board, I know as we sat in finance, and I was, perhaps more sanguine about this. I like to see opportunities for new recreation and all. I think we've always been fairly guarded against any type of a bar setting. And it may be in time that, my view in that respect is out of favor, out of majority. But for the time being, we have been careful to restrict the liquor licenses we have, which might explain why we still have about 30 of them, and only a handful that are out. But you either have to sell food greater than 50%, or we have an exception for recreational activity where the recreational activity is greater than 50% of the proceeds of the business, which we've been assured it would be. And of course, we have the mechanism to check on an annual basis whether that is true. So it does meet the exception of our regulation. Any questions, comments? Okay. Pretty easy then. So motion before you, it's a roll call vote. I'd ask the clerk to call the roll.
Mr. Schwam.
Yes.
Ms. Steele.
Yes.
Clerk is a yes. Supervisor.
Yes.
Treasurer.
Yes.
Mr. Belding.
Yeah.
6-0.
Okay. Thank you. And Ryan, thank you for coming to address it. Appreciate it.
Best wishes, Ryan.
Okay. Item 8 now, public comment period, addressing items remaining on the agenda this evening. Is there anyone who wishes to come forward and address the board about agenda items? We've got the budget coming up yet. We've got a sewer repair. Not a whole lot else yet on tonight's agenda, but you're more than welcome to address. right. So seeing none, we'll close the initial public comment period. The second public comment period here toward the end of the meeting. Item 9, is there a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda?
So moved.
Support.
Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Aye. And it is approved. Item 10, Fort Sheldon Court Sewer Main Break Emergency Response. Joel getting up here. And Joel, since you are up, if you might wish to address us before a motion is placed.
All right, good evening. I'm asking for a change order to Dean's Excavating Contract on 48th Avenue. Right here is a sewer map. Unfortunately, the green area does not show up that great. But what we have here is all this area of sewer comes through here, and then it goes into a 27-inch sewer there. And then the red area all flows through here from the north into a 12-inch sewer, and they connect at that location right there in Fort Sheldon Court. During our annual sewer televising, Plumbers was videoing this area here, in that it's the easement, and they were only able to get about 237 feet of the 523 feet to the end of that sewer main. And they got stuck because of solids buildup because of a backup. And if Amber can play the video. This is a video of the sewer being jetted, and then the camera following it. You start to see obviously you can see it's backing up in there. There you can see the solids a little bit. The jet's going to come into play here soon. I shortened it way up for you so you didn't have to watch 30 minutes of this.
The jets are to clean it out?
Yep. So this camera's following this jet. And this is a 12-inch sewer main. It's clay pipe. And here we are coming up to the manhole. And you can see the offset right there. And of course the camera can't go any further because of that offset. That offset, well, like I said, brings that 12-inch sewer main down to about a 6-inch. Just actually a little above a 6-inch sewer. Picture 1 shows another of the offset. Picture 2 shows a crack at the top of the pipe right here. It only looks like it's on the side, but it's actually the top. And then picture 3 is a crack on the side of the pipe, and it's actually letting water in, and that crack goes up and around. And the fourth picture is another picture showing the offset, as you can see. It brings it from a 12-inch to approximately a 6-inch. There are a number of challenges with this sewer repair, and because of the depth, it's about 23 feet deep, that sewer main. And that water table is at 8 feet, so there's a lot of dewatering involved in this project. And then we also have a few hurdles in the way. We have a big electric transformer on the north side of the road. Georgetown, we have a 12-inch water main, manholes, and telephone poles. And of course, we have to bypass pump our sewer during this project. Of course, this project is going to be a time and material item, no matter who we use. And Brian Newhoff and myself, we talked it over, and we believe Dean's Excavating would be the best one for this project. We've looked into some of their repairs they've done in the past, and they have good outcomes. So I'm asking for a change order to our current contract. This will allow us to hold them to unit prices already in the 48th Avenue project. and the performance and payment bonds would already be in place. The general liability insurance and owners and contractors protect the liability policy is also in place. And some of the costs of the above is already factored into the unit price for that 48th Avenue project. And the bonds and insurance protect Georgetown if anything goes wrong. So,
Joel,
question?
was this found as part of our routine
Yes.
inspecting the place? Okay. It's not like some event was happening that led you to
No.
seek this out. If not for that routine televising, when would we have first noticed it? I mean, how much longer, and what would have been the effect? Would it have been going into the basement?
We would be backing up into businesses first right there. Like I said, it goes through an easement between Port Sheldon and Port Sheldon Court, just south of Roger Drive. That sewer main actually goes between Mid-City Plumbing and Grand Rapids Transportation, right through there.
Any guesstimate as to how much longer it would have been before you'd have known about it?
Unknown. And
Weeks, months, whatever.
yeah. It'd be years.
Okay. I mean, we've talked about it in here, we haven't talked about it a lot, but I think that's, when we started doing the televising, that was just a really good investment, because this is an expensive repair. I don't know if you can guess as to what it could cost in the event you don't catch something of this nature in this particular spot.
Right. Yeah.
I would presume it'd be more because now you have damages related there too, and
Yes. Yep. And then, of course, now you're trying to struggle in the middle of the night, trying to set up bypass pumping and start digging down to it. Like I'm concerned about that clay pipe actually breaking more apart, and then of course you have collapse in the sinkhole in the road, and you have a lot more issues.
Joel, how common are the clay pipes? And just a rough idea how old this was?
The clay pipe was put in industrial area. That's typical at that time. We used to put clay pipe in for industrial chemicals. So it cuts through Roger Drive in that industrial park.
Okay.
That's when that went in.
Thank you.
Is this related to the business that had a backup last week?
No, I don't know of a business. I know there's a homeowner that issue on North Garden Court.
I just know somebody had asked online about who to contact on the weekend, and they weren't able to get a hold of anybody. And
yeah,
I thought he said that other businesses have been affected. And I'm trying to figure out
where
where
business in their home. I don't know. It's North Garden Court. And when I got a hold of them, my guy was already on site.
Yeah, part of the difficulty, I looked at this earlier with Joel, is that there's 3 manholes in the same area. And the water being so deep, they're going to have to try to keep them all standing up as they dig down around all 3 of them to get the pipe fixed. There's a little more, it's kind of a technical thing to get that thing correct, because you don't want any issue, you don't want to make more damage than what you already have, because there's a lot of things going on right there. So, a fair amount of shoring is going to have to happen to make that all stand up.
Yep. And a lot of dewatering. A lot of water over that.
Yep.
What happens to, this is just a curious question, but what happens to the sewage that's normally flowing through those pipes when you go to do repairs? Is there just like valves that you can turn off to reroute it?
No, we have to actually bypass pump it. So we'll plug it off in a sewer main upstream,
Okay.
pump it out of there, and go beyond to the next manhole above ground.
So you just detour the route?
Yes, above ground though.
Just thinking my little boys that are really into construction might think that was really interesting.
thanks, Joel.
Yep.
Appreciate it. Is there a motion to approve the contract with Dean's Excavating? Actually, it's an amendment to their contract.
So move.
Support.
Okay, discussion among the board. Okay, hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion is carried. Appreciate that input, Joel. Item 11, 2025 draft budget discussion. And each of us has a copy of what Rob has given us. This is the time of year, this is the date we've set for presentation of the initial draft budget. As this board knows, then we have a series of dates. Thank you very much. Putting them up there. And ultimately, the goal is to adopt the budget before the end of September, because that's when, I think as we all know, the millage rate can't be, it gets set, right? It can't be fixed after September 30. Any of this, I suppose, theoretically is subject to change, whether later in this year or even during the following year, but the millage rate has to be set by September 30. So that's the schedule. Tonight then is an opportunity for, I don't know, Rob, if you want to make a presentation to start with, and then of course tonight is an appropriate time, as well as the next time we're together, and any questions in the in-between time to really dig into this. So Rob, you want to start us off?
Yes, thank you. So this is the manager's draft budget that was presented in finance last week. I'll just walk through these bullet points and take questions afterwards. Just a reminder that on September 9, the board can offer any budget amendments, tentatively adopt the budget, and schedule the public hearing for September 23. It then becomes the board budget versus the manager's budget. And then on the 23rd of September, hold the public hearing, set the millage rate, and adopt the 2024 board budget. This 2025 appropriations budget is based on my best projections for expenses that will allow us to best serve our residents. This township budget is not a forecast of the amount that we expect to spend, but is the maximum amount that management is allowed to spend. It's important to note this is a request for appropriations, not a mandate to spend. And all purchases that exceed $10,000 must have board approval. In terms of the general fund, as you know, we have two funds that we operate with. General fund being our operating fund. Appropriations are at $18,396,900. This budget assumes a millage rate of 2.25, unchanged from the current year. This budget assumes ARPA funds of $1.85 million. This would be the last of the ARPA funds, and that is allotted for the fire ladder truck that we are confident will be completed and delivered in 2025. In order to balance the budget, by law, we have to have a balanced budget. We cannot budget a deficit. This budget assumes a contribution from some fund balance of $3.6 million that we hope and project does not occur. On the water sewer fund, total requested appropriations are $16,378,219. This budget projects revenues to exceed expenditures by just over $200,000 for the year. In terms of major capital items, I'll walk through those, and those are noted in the notes on the budget report. In terms of township expenditures, we have been meeting with Fusion IT, and as we've successfully worked with them, we've asked them to look at, as they have, and look at our current IT infrastructure, and we are expecting some major upgrades to occur in 2025. New servers, switches, etc. Our current servers is on its last legs, so we have an appropriation of $300,000 for those. Office upgrades of $60,000. That would be upgrades or changes and some different door arrangements in the office. Again, none of these have been vetted or approved. These are just projections. In the elections department, we have appropriated an elections trailer. We rent both those, and we want to buy one that we can have on hand. In the fire department, the ladder truck at $1.85 million is in there. Gear dryers at $60,000. Extrication equipment at $60,000. Various truck equipment for the pickup trucks at $35,000. Vector software upgrades at $12,000. A new pickup truck and equipment at $77,000. And then in bold, which is being discussed today in utilities, we are going to add some fire training capabilities to the new DPW building, since it's right behind Station 1, and we've allocated or appropriated $300,000 in expenses to add fire training capabilities in the DPW building. Highway and street I just highlight because there is the potential for some major sidewalk works along 48th Avenue and 36th Avenue if the board so chooses, and staying around the $4 million mark approximately, road resurfacing at 1.5 because we've done so much in the last 2 years. That'll be a discussion item in utilities today to see what direction that committee wants to go. In the cemetery, $250,000 for cemetery expansion on the current side, because we're now looking at the 5 acres of wooded property to see if we can expand there, versus going immediately across the street. A new mower is a potential at $15,000 and looking to add 2 columbariums at a total of $20,000. Moving to senior transportation, looking to purchase a new medium-duty bus at $200,000 and 2 light-duty buses at a total of $318,000. Those will be a wash because those will be paid for by the state transportation grants. At the senior center, looking to add some signage for $11,000, a new printer for $10,000, and some Wi-Fi upgrades at $15,000. In our parks, we have some major improvements potentially in the parks. 8th Avenue Park paving is needed. Current estimate is $150,000. New and enhanced and reconfigured Rush Creek parking lot at $400,000. Brush clearing equipment at $115,000, which would allow us to do a lot more clearing of brush if approved. At Maplewood Courts at $20,000, and then trails and paths maintenance at $35,000. Within the water sewer department, we have the first item, which will be again discussed in utilities, new DPW building at $3.9 million. We have major projects going on with the 48th Street water main. Phase 1, which is beginning soon, will be at $3.6 million. And then Phase 2, we expect 50% of that project to be completed in 2025. So 50% of that Phase 2 would be $3.3 million. And then we have PLC water controls at $250,000. Furniture, if we decide to purchase new for the DPW building, estimated at $115,000. Racking at $38,000. A message board, which is when our guys are out on the road, it's a caution message board at $30,000, and then 2 new pickup trucks at $100,000. And in terms of general operational, again, there are no requested or appropriated FTE adds at this time. And just carried over, looking at historicals, looking at general increases on the operational side. These are the major capital items that we can project at this time. Some happen, some don't. Things change, but at this time, it's our best projections for an operational budget and a water sewer budget. I encourage you after tonight to contact me if you have questions or concerns. Again, September 9 would be the tentative adoption of the budget, which would then go and be brought forward as the board budget. Questions, comments, concerns?
I mean, on the good side, Rob, just on the first page on revenue, sales tax seems light to me. I mean, I know you're conservative, but it seems very conservative. I'd be surprised if we didn't hit at least the 2023 number.
You're right. Typically in the revenues we go low and the expenses we go a little high to stay conservative. That's why I am hopeful that we won't be needing $3.6 million of fund balance to make that zero. The only one that's guaranteed is the property tax, because that's pretty easy. You take your SCD and times it by the mill rate. Other than that, it's based on the economy and how things go. The other big one is, which is a guessing game, is we've experienced a lot of interest income this year because interest rates are so high and we have bank balances. So we've made unusually high revenue on the interest. Not sure what's going to happen next year.
You're really conservative on that one too. I mean, you got that 150?
Yeah, well, I look at 2022 and get nervous.
Yep, I get it. Yep.
Rob, thank you for all your hard work putting this together.
Yeah, you know, if interest rates go down, you drop your interest income. But it also pushes home sales, so then you end up with more revenue on that side from the property taxes. So it's kind of a balance. If interest rates stay high or homes don't change over, you don't get as much income because your revenue is not there with property taxes, but you pick it up in your interest rates. The interest rates are high. So.
All right, well, I know finance has had this for a few days. The rest of you might be just seeing this for the first time. You've got a good amount of time here between now and the 9th and eventually the 23rd. So dig in, ask questions of the office if you like. Obviously ask questions, make statements, make your points and so on. Again on September 9 and ultimately, as I say, on September 23. So appreciate you putting it out there, Rob.
So that trailer, Amber, is that for your place you for to stay during elections so that you don't have to go home, or? I was just curious. Thought it was like an Airstream.
$300,000 for the fire training facility. That will be part of the DPW building.
Yes.
So we're going to expand the square footage.
No.
We're going to utilize more of the square footage.
What's that?
We're going to utilize more of the square footage.
We're utilizing some space within the facility.
They envision.
Because I know the issue we had was it was already pushing it as far as square footage usage. Any more we would have to put in an elevator. It's going to trigger an elevator.
Nope.
Along those lines, what are they picturing, high level view in terms of the usefulness of that building for fire training?
Chief DeWitt, why don't you come up? It's your department.
Place for venting or search, different ways to lay hose, go from one level to another level, to do bailout drills. Places we can go with inclement weather. It's really difficult right now to find buildings to be able to use. We get donated buildings occasionally, not very often anymore. We're not allowed to do live trainings, fire burns anymore.
That's an EPA thing, isn't it? Or, yeah.
A lot of regulations. So this will give us a home inclement weather, bad conditions, that we've got a place to go, something to do, something we can train our guys on.
So on the second level, there's a space, we're going to create a smoke room.
Yep.
That they'll do, what do you call that, smoke?
Bailouts, we can smoke up the room, we can go in there and search for a victim, a dummy, pull it out, bring it down to the lower level. Stretch hoses there. Also the building's going to benefit us with pump testing, hose testing, getting that stuff done. So it's going to be huge.
And then ladder training. And
we currently have nothing.
Yeah.
So it's up to just hearsay of a building coming available. We just practiced on Chicago Drive. That building came down, and now we don't have a building to go to. Yep, this will be huge.
So ladder training on that second level.
Yep.
Also installing 2 fire hydrants on the facility so we can do our own training on our property and hose testing. And then we're half of the floor, extra 2 inches of reinforced concrete so we can bring the ladder truck in with a hoist and do maintenance within that building in the ladder truck instead of outsourcing that. So half of that.
Of our own maintenance. Yeah. Save some cost. And having that concrete thick enough, we can drive our ladder truck in there and have a crane, an overhead crane that we can utilize too. So being able to do some of the repairs ourselves with our own maintenance guy will be a lot of money.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Good multi-use.
Yep.
Anyone for Chief? Thanks.
Yep.
Any other comments this evening. Obviously, this is the start of a conversation, not the completion.
I did have a question about the brush clearing equipment. Sounds like a skid steer or a track loader with a deforestation head on it. How much have we spent paying other tree companies to deforest in the past 5 years?
We can get you that. Yeah. We don't have that memorized, but we'll get you that number. 5 years? All right.
Where's most of that done? Is it mostly Maplewood? Is it
Maplewood, 8, Rush Creek. There's a lot to be done there. We've done some.
44th Street was brutal this year.
Yes.
That whole trail that goes all along, we have to take care of that.
Yeah.
Down 44th between 8th Avenue and there. I know Rod was really struggling with that because that brush keeps growing over onto that bridge part there and stuff.
along those lines? I like seeing the maintenance money being set aside for existing paths. That may be one we're light on. They get 35,000 or so.
Yeah.
One of those are starting to get.
And with that equipment, if the economics don't make sense, we won't move forward. It's there in case it makes sense, depending on how much clearing we want to do. But it's getting harder and harder to get vendors who have the equipment to be able to reach where we need to reach. So.
Other initial comments?
I guess so total right now, DPW building is at 4.4 million as of today.
Was there a question?
Yeah. I was going to say I thought it was 4.5, but.
Say that again?
The DPW estimate budget, I'm trying to recall, for the building.
DPW building was 3.9.
3.9.
Was the in November approved an additional approval on the DPW portion.
Reinforced concrete in that building that's factored in the current price, or is there a line item in some other department where that one's
that's being presented in utilities.
You don't have an estimate?
I do not.
Anything else tonight? All right. We've got that, and there's no motion to be made there, just homework to be done. Item 12, FOIA appeal. This was requested that Mr. Plowman that this be placed before the board. It is protocol. When there's a FOIA made and then there's a response to that FOIA, if there's a disagreement with that response, then it comes to this board as a board item. So that's what that concerns.
I'll make a motion on this topic to receive the appeal and to uphold the township's responses.
I'll support that.
For context, because I feel I must add some context. So the FOIA was directed to me, but I believe it ultimately concerned a text string that involved and wasn't simply initiated by me. But if I, without sounding too defensive, because I don't think I have anything to be defensive about, but it asked for text from a township issued phone, which is not the case. My phone is not issued by the township, but nevertheless, I think legally speaking, it can create a public record, whether I pay for it or whether the township does. As I understand the text in question, as it was shared with the office here, I didn't in any way see that as a public record. In other words, I think what I saw was that late last year in a text string, my only text or contribution to the string was to suggest that I talk directly with the person making the complaint to the board. Thought that was most appropriate as opposed to deliberating, as we should not, among ourselves. And so, in my view, I handled that properly, and in fact, we did not deliberate, and therefore it would not be a public record. More fundamentally than that, though, the request was for me to turn over any text I had that would be deemed a public record, even if I were wrong, and I don't think I am, on whether or not that was a public record. I don't have a retention policy that keeps text that long, so I truly did not have a responsive text or text string. So to that degree, if that's all we're looking at is, hey, did you comply with the FOIA, which is a different question from, hey, I don't agree with your assessment of the Open Meetings Act. On that issue alone, which is what is before us, you can't see it differently in my way of looking at it. Either a record exists or it doesn't. I don't have that. Whatever my opinion or your opinion about, or Mr. Palmer's opinion about what it constitutes and whether it constitutes a public record and so on, I just don't have it. I don't retain that far back. So I'm sure there may be other avenues of recourse when someone believes differently. If they think, well, either I don't agree with your FOIA appeal result, or I think, there was an Open Meetings Act violation, which again, I disagree with strongly. There is a methodology for pursuing that, but it isn't through the FOIA appeal. So I would tend to agree with the motion. I'm part of the request. So you might say, well, of course you do, but honestly, looking at it objectively, I didn't have something to produce, and I can't produce something I don't possess.
And
when you say retention, you mean you deleted it?
Meaning I don't have my phone set to keep text indefinitely because it fills up my phone. So
like a bleach bit app or something?
Excuse me?
Is it like a bleach bit app?
No. You can set your the Hillary Clinton reference.
After 30 days.
Recognize that.
I don't have my phone deleting stuff. Sorry, this is so loud today. But I don't have my phone deleting stuff after 30 days or whatever the setting can be. I do have it. I do have that text exchange, but the screenshot that was provided when the FOIA appeal came through to our township emails, the screenshot that was provided in that email was everything that I ever saw on my screen. I held my phone up next to the screenshot that was provided, and they were an identical match, but there was nothing not included in that exchange. I could scroll up and scroll down, and there was nothing more to provide. So it seems like we were asking for something that never happened, that never existed. The full context of the conversation is in hand, right, by anybody asking for it. So
maybe a way to put that back to you is that is the document, which whether I retained it or not, and I didn't, apparently it is had, meaning the requester has it and has access to it. So they might take part in that fact, which is whether or not I could produce it, they still obtained it. So
I'd have to look at the FOIA to see what they were requesting. If it was, I thought it was multiple phone numbers engaging, a quorum engaging in a text thread. Yeah. And I know that there's another one too. So there's not just that one, there's a second one. I'm just confused.
I don't have the original FOIA request with me here, but I don't have documents responsive to what was requested within that FOIA. And if someone does, and if they, if you're aware of apparently something else, I have no issue if that's ever something they wish to contest. There was no deliberation, there was no policy setting, et cetera. So, I'd be happy to have that argument if it ever comes about. But to this question, I can only say, as the one who saw it, I don't have the, I don't even call them a document, but the text string, don't have those, and I can't produce what I don't have.
And I wasn't asked to produce that, but I have it, but it is nothing, there is nothing more than what is already pictured. And there isn't, at least not that I'm part of, there isn't some other conversation or, like conspiracy theories to be had there, but there is no other conversations. It was a text thread that came to me, but not that I participated in. And so I was frustrated that I was even listed on it because I was in receipt of a text, but I hadn't contributed to the conversation whatsoever. So I have it. Everybody else does too.
Other comments? All right, hearing none, there's a motion before you. We'll do a roll call vote.
Ms. Schwam.
The motion was to receive the appeal and uphold the township's responses.
Correct.
Thank you. Yes.
Ms. Steele.
Yes.
Clerk is a no. Supervisor?
Yes.
Treasurer?
No.
Mr. Belding?
Yes.
Is a 4-2.
Okay. Item 13, second public comment period. This is when those of you who are here can speak to any issue that you like. You've got 3 minutes. We just ask you to identify your name and address and address the board. Sir.
Joseph Parnell McCarter, 6408 Renwood in Jenison. What if I came before this board and told you that tomorrow we should demolish this fine campus of buildings and move its offices and library into an old dilapidated shack with water leaks and other problems? I think you would look at me and say I had lost my mind. Yet the planned 2025 closure and demolition of the county's Campbell plant, combined with rapid 2025 restart of Holtec's Palisades nuclear plant, is far more dangerous and economically wasteful. We are talking about reckless to the tune of billions of dollars and even potentially risking the lives of many West Michiganders. The former lead engineer at Palisades has gone public that it is unfit for quick restart, saying, I am pro-nuclear, but they selected the wrong horse to ride to town on. In contrast, the Campbell plant is demonstrably safe, reliable, and affordable to operate, as it is showing right now in the way it operates. It is hard to believe the Michigan Public Service Commission has approved the current plan. Hopefully we can persuade them and the other relevant parties to delay its implementation. Hundreds of Ottawa County citizens have signed Save the Campbell petitions towards making us a charter county so we may get local control of our electric utilities and save the Campbell plant from 2025 closure and demolition. I still believe that should be our long-term goal, but what I'm asking this board and the other boards of Ottawa County now is simply to sign a letter requesting the Michigan Public Service Commission, Consumers Energy, and other relevant parties to delay the closure and demolition of the Campbell plant and to reconsider rapid restart of Holtec's Palisades plant. This request is fully consistent with our electric grid operator, MISO's, recommendation, quote, to delay resource retirements to reliably manage the anticipated growth in electricity demand. Another quote, MISO and the Organization of MISO States released the annual OMS MISO survey results, which indicate a growing capacity deficit beginning in the 2025-2026 planning year. Of course, that's when the closure is supposed to take place. The most expert entity on our regional grid is thus recommending what I am asking this board to request. In order to accomplish this request, I would ask this board to put on the agenda of the earliest utilities meeting possible and pass it on to the board to approve. I have provided to each board member the draft letter that is available at the SaveTheCampbell.com website. Thanks so much for your consideration of this request.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, seeing none, we'll close the second public comment period. Discussion and general information among the board. I think I'll just say while it's fresh, I'm sympathetic to Mr. McCarter's campaign. It does seem foolhardy to close that functioning plant. But I think that's probably, if there were any resolution signed, it would probably have to percolate up through utilities. But yeah. All right, comments?
I was going to say the same thing, Jim.
Yeah.
I've been following Parnell's stuff for, I call you Parnell, I'm sorry. I've known Joel for 30 years, so, but anyways, I think he makes some good points. As somebody who actually runs an off-grid solar home up north, I can tell you it's all cracked up to be, especially in Michigan with the short days we have, so I think it's worth looking at too. I really do. So.
I feel the same way. Very sympathetic, and it seems foolhardy that we're going in this direction so quickly.
Another thought, coming from Hudsonville into Georgetown, forgive me if I brought this up once before, but I don't see a sign. I'm kind of proud of that end of our township. I think we've got some beautiful commercial buildings that have gone up and so on. That sometimes, again, this is maybe part of the competitive nature in me, but I think people assume it's Hudsonville. It's not. It's Georgetown.
Right.
Like to make a demarcation a little clearer there, to have something saying, hey, you're in Georgetown.
Jim, it's on order.
That's okay.
Yeah.
All right, great.
I was going to say, I thought services was all over that.
Okay. Thank you. Any other thoughts or
I
comments?
just wondered if we get an update on the water meter installations.
I can get that for you. Last I knew, maybe about 2 months ago, we had about 1,800 of them installed. I have to get that.
1,800 installed, so we're sitting on 4,000 roughly on pallets. And I did have one other question with that too, and I didn't think about it until after somebody asked me about it. So, somebody from Lakewood Construction actually, previously, they said as soon as the skids hit Georgetown Township property, the warranty starts?
There's a gate on those meters, and then, yeah, it's supposed to be set that gate.
More Mike or anybody else? Okay, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Support.
All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, means adjourned.